For centuries, Western nations have been at the forefront of shaping the world's economic, political, and cultural landscape. From the Renaissance to the Industrial Revolution, and through the rise of democracy and capitalism, the West set the pace for global progress. Its influence stretched across continents, defining the rules of trade, diplomacy, and even the very idea of modernity itself. But today, the old certainties are dissolving. The world that once seemed so firmly under Western stewardship is now shifting beneath our feet. Economic slowdowns, political polarization, and social upheaval have left many wondering if the West's best days are behind it. The post-World War II order, dominated by the US and its allies, is showing its age. Institutions built to maintain peace and prosperity now struggle to adapt to new realities. The world's problems, climate change, pandemics, cyber threats, no longer respect old boundaries or hierarchies. The real story isn't just about Western decline, it's about the rise of everyone else. Across the globe, new centers of power and innovation are emerging. Cities in Asia, Africa, and Latin America are booming, their skylines transforming at a breathtaking pace. Nations across Asia, Africa, and Latin America are gaining power and demanding a seat at the table, sometimes building their own. They're not just participating in the global conversation, they're helping to set the agenda, forging new alliances and creating institutions that reflect their own priorities and values. This diffusion of power makes the world more dynamic, competitive, and unpredictable. The rules are being rewritten, and the players are more diverse than ever before. Economic influence, technological innovation, and cultural trends now flow from many directions, not just from the West. Imagine a marketplace where new vendors arrive, each with unique offerings, making things vibrant but also chaotic. The competition is fierce, but so is the potential for creativity and collaboration. In this new global bazaar, everyone has something to contribute, and something to gain. The old order was predictable, the new one is a swirl of challenges and opportunities. While uncertainty can be unsettling, it also opens the door to fresh ideas and unexpected partnerships. The world is no longer governed by a single script, but by a multitude of voices and visions. This shift touches everything, from technology to global policy, from the way we work to the way we solve problems. Innovation is no longer the monopoly of a few, it's a global phenomenon, fueled by diverse perspectives and shared ambitions. We're living through a pivotal moment, a great rebalancing that will reshape alliances and rewrite the story of global power. The future will be defined not by the dominance of one region, but by the interplay of many. The world isn't becoming anti-Western, but it is becoming post-Western. The influence of the West remains, but it now shares the stage with a chorus of new actors, each bringing their own strengths and stories. The story of progress is now told in many voices, not just one. As the sun sets on the era of Western dominance, it rises on a world that is richer, more complex, and more interconnected than ever before. The next chapter of history will be written by all of us together. The phrase New World Order isn't just a buzzword tossed around in headlines or political speeches. It's a marker of pivotal moments in history when the very foundations of global power and influence are reimagined. These are the times when the world's rules, alliances, and priorities are rewritten, often in response to seismic events that shake the status quo. Throughout history, these shifts have been triggered by wars, revolutions, and the rise and fall of empires. When the dust settles, leaders gather to negotiate new terms, redraw borders, and set the stage for the next era. The New World Order is not a single event, but a recurring process, one that shapes the destinies of nations and the lives of billions. Take the Congress of Vienna in 1815, for example. After the devastation of the Napoleonic Wars, European powers came together to restore balance and prevent future conflict. Their decisions created a framework that kept relative peace in Europe for nearly a century, even as new challenges emerged. Fast forward to the aftermath of World War I. President Woodrow Wilson championed the ideas of self-determination and collective security, hoping to build a world where nations could resolve disputes peacefully. The League of Nations was born from this vision, but the world wasn't ready to embrace it fully, and the order it promised was short-lived. The most enduring world order emerged after World War II. The United States, along with its allies, established a system anchored by the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. This American-led order promoted stability, economic growth, and cooperation, shaping the modern era and influencing everything from trade to human rights. When the Soviet Union collapsed in the early 1990s, it seemed as if this order would go unchallenged. The world briefly imagined a future of unipolar stability, with liberal democracy and free markets spreading across the globe. But history never stands still. Now, in 2025, we're witnessing the fracturing of that post-war consensus. New powers are rising, old alliances are strained, and people everywhere are questioning the institutions that once seemed unshakable. The institutions built to manage global affairs are being tested as never before. Debates grow more heated, cooperation is harder to achieve, and the rules that governed the last century are no longer taken for granted. If history teaches us anything, it's that transitions between world orders are fraught with risk and uncertainty. These are times when old certainties vanish, and the path forward is anything but clear. The end of one order doesn't automatically bring a better one. More often it leaves a vacuum, a period of confusion and competition, where new ideas and actors vie for influence. The key question facing us now is, what will fill that vacuum? Will it be a new balance of power, a return to chaos, or something entirely unexpected? Will the world's major powers find a way to cooperate, or will rivalry and disorder define the next era? Could new technologies, global challenges like climate change or grassroots movements reshape the landscape in ways we can't yet predict? The past offers clues but never a roadmap. Each transition is unique, shaped by the ambitions, fears, and hopes of its time. We can study the patterns, but the future remains unwritten. Understanding these shifts isn't just for historians or diplomats, it's essential for anyone who wants to make sense of the world, prepare for change, and help shape what comes next. Today, the world stands at a crossroads. The choices made now, by leaders, citizens, and communities, will determine the shape of the next world order. The outcome is still up for grabs, and the story is far from over. Western influence is eroding, not collapsing. The world is witnessing a gradual shift, not a sudden fall. The dominance that once seemed unshakable is now being questioned, as new powers rise and old certainties fade. This is a story of transformation, not disappearance, a rebalancing of global influence that is unfolding before our eyes. Politically, unity is cracking. Brexit, nationalism, and US polarization weaken the transatlantic alliance. Once Western nations moved in lockstep, shaping the world order. Now, internal disagreements and rising populism are pulling them apart. The European Union faces existential questions, while the US and its allies struggle to find common ground on major issues. Internal divisions create a leadership vacuum on global issues. The West, once the architect of international cooperation, now finds itself gridlocked by partisan politics and competing interests. This paralysis leaves space for other nations to step forward and shape the agenda. Economically, the West's share of global GDP is shrinking as Asia rises. China, India, and other emerging economies are driving global growth, investing in infrastructure and innovating at a rapid pace. The economic center of gravity is shifting eastward, challenging the financial dominance of Western capitals. The 2008 financial crisis shook faith in Western capitalism while emerging economies surged. Trust in Western financial systems was deeply damaged, and many countries began to look for alternative models. Meanwhile, Asian markets rebounded quickly, attracting investment and confidence from around the world. Militarily, US dominance is challenged by inconclusive wars and rivals investing in new warfare. Prolonged conflicts in the Middle East have drained resources and morale, while nations like China and Russia modernize their forces and develop advanced technologies, narrowing the gap. The era of uncontested US power is over. Today, military influence is more fragmented, with regional powers asserting themselves and alliances shifting. The global balance of power is in flux, and no single nation can dictate terms as before. Culturally, Western media faces competition from K-pop, Bollywood, and Chinese tech. Global audiences are embracing new voices and stories, and digital platforms are amplifying non-Western creators. The cultural marketplace is more open and dynamic than ever. Non-Western identities are gaining confidence and exporting their own narratives. From African fashion to Latin American music and Middle Eastern cinema, diverse cultures are shaping global trends and redefining what it means to be influential. The world is no longer just consuming Western culture, it's producing its own. Creative industries across continents are thriving, and international collaborations are becoming the norm, not the exception. A richer, more diverse global conversation is underway. As the West adapts to this new reality, the world is becoming more interconnected, more pluralistic, and more vibrant than ever before. China's rise is reshaping the world. From poverty to powerhouse, China now seeks a central global role, aiming for national rejuvenation. Its Belt and Road Initiative connects continents, boosting trade and influence. China is building new institutions and promoting its model of authoritarian capitalism. Yet, its assertiveness, human rights record, and internal challenges spark global distrust. China's power is undeniable, but whether it can lead and be accepted as a leader remains uncertain. The world is watching to see if China's ascent translates into true global leadership. While China grabs headlines, India is quietly rising. As the world's largest democracy, India's growth is driven by a young population and a diversifying economy. Its foreign policy balances relationships with the US, China, and Russia, making it a key swing state. India's diaspora and cultural exports, yoga, cuisine, Bollywood, extend its soft power globally. Its pluralistic democracy offers an alternative to both Western and Chinese models. But India faces big challenges: poverty, infrastructure gaps, and social inequality. Its growth is steady, not explosive, but its potential is immense. For India to lead globally, it must first lift its own people. India's ascent is slow, but impossible to ignore. The next global leaders might not be countries, but tech giants. Companies like Alphabet, Amazon, Tencent, and Alibaba wield power rivaling nations. They control digital infrastructure, data, and AI, shaping economies and societies. Their decisions influence elections, public discourse, and even international policy. With data as the new oil, their innovation drives global change. These non-state actors challenge traditional power structures and raise questions about accountability. The future of leadership may be a contest between nation-states and digital empires. Today's global competition is economic, not just military. Innovation, production, and trade define national strength. China's rise was built on economic integration and manufacturing might. Leading in technologies like AI, 5G, and biotech is now a strategic imperative. The US and China battle over tech dominance and control of supply chains. Financial power matters too. The US dollar's dominance is being challenged by digital currencies and alternative systems. The leader of tomorrow will offer the most compelling model for prosperity. State-led capitalism and liberal democracy are competing visions. Sustainable growth and innovation are the new benchmarks. Economic power is the currency of influence. The battle for it will decide who writes the next world order. Power is also about stories. Soft power shapes what the world admires. The West's cultural monopoly is fading as new voices emerge. K-pop, Nollywood, and other cultural exports build pride and influence. Competing models, Western liberalism, Chinese state-led stability, and others vie for global appeal. Many nations now assert their own identities, challenging Western norms. The next global leader must inspire beyond its borders. The competition for hearts and minds is as fierce as the race for markets. In a multipolar world, narrative power matters more than ever. What if the future has no single global leader? Power could be so widely spread that no one sets the agenda. A true multipolar or G0 world. This could mean more democracy and regional solutions, but also more instability. Without a leader, global crises may be harder to manage. The unipolar moment is over. What comes next is uncertain. The future may be messy, with many centers of power, nations, blocs, and tech giants. Navigating this world will require more diplomacy and flexibility. The key question isn't just who will lead, but how will we lead together? The next era will be defined by cooperation or chaos.